Now, we've covered the causes of addiction and we've covered the symptoms, but what about treatments and can they be treated? So, good news is, yes, addictions can be treated. And this comes from Very Well Mind. There are a number of different ways that addictions are treated, depending on the healthcare service you're provided with or the country you're from. There are residential treatment options, hospitalization, which could include things like cognitive behavioral therapy, so that'll be talking through things with a therapist, or things like group therapy, so support groups, which may be online or in person. Research also suggests that having adequate social support is important when someone is recovering from addiction. So as well as, the traditional sort of therapy aspects, having a strong social support network is another predictor of treatment or successfully recovering from an addiction. Now, let's look into addiction and stigma. Addiction is arguably the most stigmatized disorder, so the disorder that most people would maybe disapprove of the most, particularly in certain cultures. So, why this might be? Well, the DSM-5, the diagnostic manual that we've been referring to, they acknowledge that people with substance abuse disorders tend to have lower levels of self-control that predispose them to develop problems if exposed to drugs. And this is one of the reasons that addiction might be so stigmatized in society and so looked down upon. Having a low level of self-control is seen in general as a character flaw. It shows that you lack discipline or mental strength or resilience. And therefore, if this is so highly linked to addiction, it's unsurprising that addiction is so stigmatized in society. And you can see here, this is the criteria for an addictive disorder to be diagnosed under the DSM-5, or the DSM-4, I'm sorry. And this includes hazardous use of drugs, social problems related to use, neglecting major roles, so that might, neglecting major roles, so that might be parenting or relationships at work, and legal problems. So you have to have these criteria, or at least one of these criteria, in order to be diagnosed with an addictive disorder / psychiatric illness. So it's understandable why addiction is so stigmatized.